What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nate Infinite. I'm your host, Nate, and I have to say, media criticism and talking about movies and TV shows has gotten an all-time low, in my opinion. It's not fun to talk about media anymore, especially when you have channels like Nerdotic and Critical Drinker who just make it even worse. And we're going to talk about it in this video. But before we get to that, I just want to shout outs to all the people who have checked out my recent videos and subscribed to my channel recently. I did not think my recent videos were going to blow up so much. As of this video, I'm at like 100 subscribers, which is pretty cool considering I had like 9 before. So that's pretty cool. If you like these videos, be sure to check out my main channel. This is not my main channel, but my main channel is called Infinite Repeat or Infinite underscore Repeat. That's where I do more edited and scripted videos compared to videos like this where I just kind of ramble for a bit. So if you like what I say here, be sure to check out that channel. I'll put the link on the screen and in the description, all that good jazz. But without further ado, let's get into the topic of this video. And it's just mostly how so many people have just don't know how to talk about movies and TV shows anymore. We don't really know how to actively criticize movies and TV shows or really even talk positively about movies and TV shows recently, or really any form of media, without looking at it from this weird woke, anti-woke, does it have a message, DEI agenda that every single popular movie reviewer on this site seems to love to talk about. And I just find it very, very strange. Like, instead of talking about things that actually matter, like the actors' performances, the directing, the cinematography, the music, and the writing that these guys claim to actually care about, no, they talk about whether or not this female character is like a girl boss or not, or whether or not this character is DEI or not. And I just think that's a weird way to look at media. And I don't know, somehow this is all Ghostbusters 2016's fault. A movie that I didn't even see, by the way. Like, I remember when that movie came out and it blew up the internet pretty much. I think it's still one of the most disliked, at least trailers on YouTube. I don't know if it's one of the most disliked videos because you can't see dislikes anymore. But at the time, it was one of the most disliked trailers on YouTube. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like the trailer either. If I'm being real with you guys, I'm not really much of a Ghostbusters fan. I like the first movie. I think it's really funny. The second one, I could take it or leave it. But I've never really been like, oh man, I love the Ghostbusters. And in my opinion, I don't really think we needed more Ghostbusters. That's just one of those franchises where like, it was cool when it came out, and we don't really need more of it. I felt the same way when like the new RoboCop movie. Like, we didn't really need more RoboCop. I'm all for re-exploring old ideas and bringing back old IPs. If I didn't, some of my favorite movies wouldn't be a thing, like Blade Runner or like the new Dune movies. Like, I'm all for, re-exploring old movies, but there's just certain franchises where I'm like, it's better we let them die in the past, like Ghostbusters. Like, that was never a franchise that I think we needed more of. But when I saw the new trailer for Ghostbusters 2016, like, already wasn't really excited to watching it. But there's one thing about Ghostbusters that I don't really see why people got angry about, was the whole all-female cast. Now, when I think about Ghostbusters, there's nothing about those movies that screams they need to be male or female. When I think about Ghostbusters, first and foremost, it's a comedy. It needs to be funny. So when I watched that new trailer, the whole time I'm watching it, all I'm thinking about is, this doesn't look very funny. And I wasn't familiar with any of the actors. So there was really nothing that in that trailer that looked interesting to me. So I just didn't watch it. But for a lot of people on the internet, they took that trailer as like an attack on them. And this is at the time it was SJW, but now we call it woke. And it's just all female cast and this is attacking the legacy of the Ghostbusters. And I'm like, there's more problems with that movie other than, oh, it's all female cast. And I think that's why we got to the point where we are at now, because that's how a lot of people just look at everything. So now every time a female character comes out, they're either like a girl boss or it's woke or it's like they're destroying our heroes, and I just find it so funny. Like it's just a weird way to look at these shows and movies, especially when these same people who say this prop up characters of the past like Sarah Connor or Ripley from Aliens, characters who they would most definitely be called woke now if they came out. People like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker love talking about Ripley, who, let's be real, is a girl boss. Ripley is the smartest person in the Alien franchise. If everyone would just listen to Ripley, nothing would go wrong in those movies. She's super confident and competent, and she's the only one that gets shit done in her movies while the male characters just fail around her.
Do something!
She's woke. She would be considered woke. Sarah Connor, especially in the first movie, she was pretty much a damsel in distress until the very end of the movie. And in the second movie, she becomes a girl boss. She has muscles. She's able to take on males who are bigger and stronger than her. Not only that, she gives a whole speech talking down to one of the male characters in Terminator 2.
Men like you built the hydrogen bomb. Men like you thought it up. I think you're so creative. You don't know what it's like to really create something, to create a life. Feel it growing inside you. All you know how to create is death and destruction.
Mom!
That would be considered woke. But today, that's usually just old thing good, new thing bad that a lot of people love to use as a defense as well. People don't really understand how much they have nostalgia glasses on, I feel like most of the times, which is why a lot of people hate stuff like the new Star Wars movies. Instead of actually criticizing the things that are wrong with them, it's usually just new thing bad and I don't like new thing. And that's where a lot of this criticism comes down to. And that's what it seems like with this new trailer that just came out for the new Ironheart TV show that a lot of these guys are now attacking. And it's really weird because I'm like, can we not just criticize something for being bad or mid? Like there's a new Ironheart TV show, and I have a theory why the show probably didn't get a lot of marketing that it should have gotten, and that's probably because Marvel realized that they've pushed way too many TV shows out on people after Endgame. I think after Endgame, a lot of people either lost interest or they felt very overwhelmed with all the projects that Marvel was releasing, whether it was movies and the TV shows. Even me, who watched pretty much all the movies and most of the TV shows, there's only like a couple that I didn't watch, like Loki Season 2, I haven't watched the new Daredevil, Secret Invasion, those are the only ones I didn't watch. But most of them were honestly just mid at best and not really worth talking about or rewatching. They didn't really leave much of an impact. And I think now Marvel has realized that they need to cut back on TV shows. Like there's TV shows that I think were supposed to come out that are not going to come out anymore. Like I think there's supposed to be like an Armor Wars TV show or a movie. I don't know what that is now. But I think they're cutting back on TV shows, that and Star Wars as well, because I think a lot of people just got way too overwhelmed, especially when most of them were mid, like shows like Obi-Wan. They just weren't worth talking about and left no impact, especially when there are really good TV shows that are coming out that are super high quality, like shows like Severance out on Apple TV. Watching, mid Marvel TV shows, they're just not going to speak to anyone. So I think they're dialing back on that. Like I don't think there's any TV shows being announced after Ironheart and Daredevil, besides maybe another season of Daredevil. So I think that's why this show didn't get a lot of marketing. Except according to Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, Marvel hit this show because they realized how bad it was. Except during their analysis of the trailer of this show that's not even out yet, they don't really talk about why they think this show's bad, except they go into a lot of political mumbo-jumbo talking about how woke the character is and how she hasn't earned her right to be a superhero.
But the recurring theme here? The one thing they keep desperately trying to hammer home is that Riri Williams isn't just some cheap, lazy DEI replacement for Tony Stark. No sir, she's her own woman with her own personality, and definitely someone you should be excited to see on screen.
Which I think is very strange. because at least what we've seen so far, she is worthy to be a superhero. But it's all things that they complain about, that she's too smart, and how Riri is an MIT student.
We get the staples of modern intersectional feminist Hollywood writing. We are told she is great through constant affirmations from other characters, but never shown. And she's being kept down by the patriarchy or the system or both. And she deserves her acknowledgement despite the fact that she's already going to MIT.
And Nerdrotic specifically complains that this is another girl boss, super smart character in the MCU.
But at least they found something new, because this black female genius in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is totally different from the other black female genius in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Shuri. Man.
Because truly, if there's one thing the MCU needs more of, it's obnoxious teenage girls that are inexplicably amazing at technology.
Which is just a really weird thing to say, I think, because there's only like 3 really smart female characters in the MCU, one of them being Shuri and the other one being Ant-Man's daughter, which is not that many, and they all came out after Phase 4. Well, Shuri already existed, but she's the only one with a movie, and now Ironheart has a TV show, so there's not that many, especially compared to the multiple male smart characters that we have in the MCU. Hell, even compared to the ones in the comics, like there's a shit ton of super smart characters in Marvel. And I don't know if you guys realize this, if you read comics, it's just kind of hard to make really original characters without being derivative of other characters. Like, that's why there's multiple Flashes, multiple Green Lanterns, and multiple Spider-Men. It's just kind of hard to make completely original characters, at least when it comes to Marvel and DC. It's not that writers don't try, it's just a lot of times they don't stick around because people aren't interested in them without them having ties to other characters. Even characters who were completely original and like cartoon shows were still tied to other characters. Characters like Harley Quinn, who was created in the Batman cartoon series. Her whole thing was Harley Quinn's whole thing for the longest time was her relationship to the Joker. It's only recently that her ties with the Joker has been kind of cut, and now she's her own character now. And characters like X-23, who first showed up in, like, I think it was X-Men Evolution, her whole thing was that she was a clone of Wolverine, and that was her whole thing for the longest time before she became her own character. It's just kind of hard to create a completely original character. Would I like more original characters in comics? Yes, absolutely. But you're gonna have a hard time finding that in comics like Marvel and DC. You're gonna have to venture elsewhere in indie comics. It's just kind of hard for characters to stick around when you have characters that have been around for decades. And you think people who spend so much time talking about comic books and superhero stuff would kind of understand that. But again, a lot of their criticism on Riri doesn't really make any sense. Mostly when it boils down to her being a woman and DEI and comparing her to Iron Man. And again, I watched this trailer, and I'm gonna be real with you guys, I didn't think it was very interesting either. But not for the reasons they did. Mostly because, one, I just got done watching the Superman trailer like 5 times in a row, and I'm super looking forward to that movie. So anything else after that would be less interesting. So when I watched that trailer, I was just kind of underwhelmed. But also, I don't really care for that character at all. I didn't read her comics, and she was the least interesting part of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, a movie that I did like. So overall, I wasn't really looking forward to her character, but the show has potential to be good. Because Riri has the potential to be a little bit more relatable than Iron Man. Because at the end of the day, let's be real, Iron Man's not really a relatable character. He's a super rich guy who has a shit ton of money to make multiple Iron Man suits. And that's the vibe that they're trying to set for this show, where it's like Riri is just a normal girl who did go to college, which to MIT. I can't go to MIT, but she's able to create this Iron Man suit on her own, which is pretty impressive, because if you know the history of the Marvel Universe, no one's been able to do that. Because that was the whole thing with Tony and Iron Man 2, where other people were trying to make their own Iron Man suit, and the government wanted Tony's Iron Man suit, but no one else was able to make an Iron Man suit. So you have Riri here, who's able to make her own Iron Man suit all on her own. I mean, she didn't do it in a cave with a box of scraps, but she was still able to make her own Iron Man suit, which I don't see how that's any different than any other super genius we got in the MCU, like Spider-Man, who's able to create his own webbing by himself. But for some reason, that's okay when Spider-Man does it and makes his own suit, But for some reason, when Riri does it, it's bad. I don't really get it. I've also seen people say stuff like they should have had that kid from Iron Man 3.
And if we were gonna talk about characters that would have been really interesting to see come back, how about Harley from the semi-successful Iron Man 3, who actually does make a cameo appearance at Tony Stark's funeral in Avengers Endgame? Or, you know, his daughter, who he loved 3000.
Two characters who I couldn't remember their names even if you asked, even if there was a gun pointed to my head. No one remembers that kid from Iron Man 3, and that's coming from someone who liked Iron Man 3. And also, Iron Man's daughter, what is she, like 10 now? Yeah, she definitely deserves her own TV show. How have those characters earned their own TV shows over Riri? At least Riri is a character from the comics. Those two characters aren't. So that makes absolutely no sense. But going back to Ghostbusters, when I watched that trailer, I just decided I'm not going to watch that movie. But for some reason, neurotic, critical drinker, guys like this, they have to make a million videos complaining about movies that they probably weren't going to watch anyway. And I just think it's ridiculous. Like, how about maybe this is just bad and let's just move on? People like these guys think that movies just gotten bad recently when we've always had bad movies. Bad movies have always existed. But these guys act like it's just a new thing that's just starting it up. And it isn't. And I just think it's a really annoying way to talk about movies and shows and media. But let's be real, these guys are still going to talk about the Ironheart trailer when it comes out. Or at least they're going to pretend to watch it and still talk about it. Probably have someone else watch it for them. Because I still don't think these guys actually watch the shows and movies that they complain about. Because I can't really understand how you make 20 videos talking about something like Snow White and how bad it's going to be and still go watch the movie at the end of the day and spend your money on it. I mean, Critical Drinker has already talked about shows and movies that he didn't actually watch, like The Boys Season 4, where he made a whole video complaining about that season when he didn't even watch it.
So I wasn't exactly brimming with excitement at the prospect of sacrificing another 8 hours of my increasingly limited lifespan for the new season. Frankly, I've got better things to do with my time.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens with Ironheart and they talk about it even though they probably didn't even watch it and complaining about it when they knew they weren't going to like it in the first place. And I just find it all very annoying and a dumb way to look at media. But I would love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you like this video, consider giving me a like and subscribe for future videos. And of course, check out my main channel, Infinite Repeat, Infinite_Repeat. There'll be links down below. Once again, this is Nate Infinite. I'm Nate. Stay up.